There's a gleam. Let's get the gleam, all right? Let's go.
We got one!
Get the fuck out!
Because Trump bad. Trump bad.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever this video finds you. Welcome to this. What's today? Wednesday? Yeah. So of course, yesterday was my birthday. I didn't do a stream, but I did do that the night of Monday night. Once I closed out, I wound up coming back and doing another stream, about a 3-hour stream, talking about racism. And I mean, it's so complex. I mean, to sum it up, for those of y'all who don't even want to care to watch it, Democrats and Republicans both see us as dumb animals, except the Democrats want to keep you as dumb animals, always a victim, so that way you stay under their thumb, whereas the Republicans, they know you're not dumb animals, but you keep acting like dumb animals. They know you can do better. They deal with those of you in the public, in the general sector, the private sector, and in government. They know you can do better, but you just don't. It's too many. The way they see it is too many Jasmine Crockett's and Al Greens. Then there are Ryan Donalds, Shermichael Singletons. They know you're out there, but you're shunned by your community for not, quote unquote, acting black, which is the Democratic way of acting black, the Democratic black behavior. You're shunned by your own community for that. This is why somebody like a Shermichael or Brian Donald what's the guy? Is this your king? Is this your king? Michael B. Jordan. Why he gets called corny while in a classroom full of black people, mainly black women, gets called corny. And then once he's grown up and he's got millions of dollars in the bank for, quote unquote, not being a Democratic acting black, suddenly now it's a whole new tune. The black kid with the 13 brain surgeries, or was it more than that, 25? That they made an honorary Secret Service agent. Yeah, you saw how the black people, mainly black women, were making fun of him in his policeman's uniform, shooting down his dream, just like they did Michael B. Jordan. Think he votes Democrat? But I digress. Here to talk about the Democratic Party and what their leadership looks like. And I implore black men, especially, you don't have to be a Republican. I'm not a Republican. I'm an independent. Obama taught me that lesson. He taught me that lesson. His first term, his first couple of months in office, he taught me that lesson. It's not about Democrat or Republican. It's about policy. What is the person in office, no matter what office, what are they doing that is directly for you or that you can benefit from. I learned that lesson. It took a while for me to shake it off. What's up, blood boiling? It took a while for me to shake it off, to shake that the Democratic stink off of me. I mean, Trump's first term, I'm still watching CNN. I really did think that he was saying white supremacists were very nice people. Here I am in 2024. It's 2024 before I realized that was a lie, because I watched the whole press conference. We sat up here on this channel and watched the whole press conference, and he condemned Antifa and the white supremacists and BLM that was out there, everybody that started the fight. He condemned them. He said it was some very fine people that showed up on both sides that were peacefully protesting, and then came the agitators. And by the way, those agitators were not Republicans, they were Democrats. Why the hell would a Republican give a damn about you tearing down a statue of a Confederate soldier? They don't give a damn about that. The South lost. Why is this stuff still up? That's like still having funny mustache guy stuff, having statues of him up in Germany. Are you psychotic? Tear this stuff down. Just goes to show you that the country was always divided between the North and the South. The South being represented by, of course, the Democratic Party. So they were fighting each other over those damn statues. Trump let people do it, tear it down. And the funny thing that Destiny got into was trying to talk about 8 of the 7 of the 10 biggest riots, race riots, happened under Trump's term. Yeah, BLM. Fighting over those statues. Fighting over the Confederacy. The only one you could attribute is January 6th, and nobody gives a damn about that because, I mean, only one person was murdered, and that was one of the protesters. They bring up the legislator, I forget her name, Sarah whatever, that was murdered. Her and her husband and the dog was murdered by that guy who worked for Tim Walz. Trying to say he was a Republican. He was not a Republican. That's already been debunked. I don't know why they keep bringing it up when they talk about that both sides. You say, did you see the sheriff say how they negotiated with Tyler to be soft on him? I did not. What's going on, Stacker Star? No, I did not. I was busy today. I get my car out of the shop. They still cannot find out what the problem is, but that's a separate issue. I've been busy today. I've been busy the past couple of days, but I've been trying to keep my ear to the ground without being inundated with so much Charlie Kirk news, because it's infuriating as far as the news that they're putting out, where you had the fat black chick with the horrible makeup, spiders, weave, clothes too small for her, out there agitating those people. And you could tell that if the cops wasn't there, the white guy that went, ugh, this is what evil looks like, and put the camera on her, you could tell if the cops wasn't there, he would have handled her, but he didn't. And she eventually got arrested because she showed her whole natural tail feathers, just being a black embarrassment, being the prototypical stereotype of how the world sees black women. Jasmine Crockett helps that, by the way, with her blackfacery. But she slapped the head off of a guy, and that constituted assault. It's simple assault, but that's all it takes. And she was immediately arrested. Couldn't believe she was getting arrested. You know, oh no, the consequences of my actions. And then, of course, she got kicked out of school. The black guy, the young black dude who went up there on the memorial and acted like he was getting tapped, imitating Charlie Kirk's final moments. Yeah, he got kicked out of school too. Black people always got to show their ass, making a clown, making a plumb fool out of themselves, and for that white pat on the head from people that don't give a damn about you. You're their cannon fodder. You are their cannon fodder, and you continue to be their cannon fodder when you should be staying out of it. That story about it's really 3 black dudes that were hung. 2 at one college, 1 at another. I covered that Monday night when I was on late that night. One of the listeners, I think it was ABL, he posted the story like, they found a brother hanging. Like, what? I was like, well, we got cameras everywhere. You know, we live in an Orwellian society. You should be able to find out exactly what happened. But before people start jumping the gun, let me tell you right now, conservatives. Oh, ABM. Thank you. Thanks. Yeah, it was ABM. I'm sorry, I got your initials wrong. You know, I don't mind being corrected. Yeah, like conservatives don't use ropes. They use pew pews. Democrats use ropes. They're known for using ropes. They're known for Leroy. I'm trying to use a black name. But Leroy go home with Becky for Thanksgiving because they met in college or whatever, and all of a sudden drowning accident. You notice these are Democratic whites that they're spending their time with, that they're dating. Like, and the colleges were warned. Why were people unarmed and alone? Smarten up, black people. Yeah. This is why I say, you need to openly denounce the Democratic Party. Like, you like, hey, I don't want none of this Charlie Kirk smoke that's coming the Democratic Party's way. But you're 92 and 77% voters. You're cannon fodder. They got you on tape making a fool out of yourself. Got black women crying. Oh, why did I get fired? We're talking crazy about Charlie Kirk. We're celebrating his death. I can't believe I got fired. What you mean? I love the smell of pink slips in the morning. We used to say that at the job. Somebody got fired. When we used to do the stand-up. I love the smell of pink slips in the morning. Like, wow, who's getting the axe? You finally getting rid of Sheila? You finally getting rid of Stacy? You finally getting rid of Sharkeisha? You finally getting rid of these people? You finally, yup, they came in late. Yeah, we'll wait till they got an hour to go on their shift before we call them up to HR. That's how they do you. I'm telling you right now. A lot of managers know you're on the chopping block. When all of a sudden all of them start smiling at you, all different departments. Hey, how you doing there, Rufus? Yeah. Doing good? Working hard? Mm-hmm. Then at the end of your shift, you might catch a whiff of a rumor or two. I heard you got fired. Some chicken housekeeper. I thought they fired you. What? No. A couple hours later, you know, come the HR director. You want to come with me for a minute? Any rate, let's get on with this. So let me give you the prelude to what's going on here. I tried to cover this in the last video, but we ran out of time. But I just want to give you an idea of the representation of the Democratic Party that's being put out there.
New Nazis or the new fascists or the new Hitler. And that leads to the kind of thing we saw with Charlie Kirk. Do you agree that this language, this relentless, in my view, woeful misuse, particularly of the word Nazi, towards Trump and his supporters, this is part of the problem?
Well, I think part of the deeper problem, though, Brother Pierce, is that the organized greed and weaponized hatred and routinized indifference toward the vulnerable has come together in such a way that it has eroded the sources of character formation, so that integrity, honesty, decency, and self-critical sensibilities of individuals and groups is more and more disappearing. So you end up with because hatred itself is promiscuous, just like greed, just like indifference toward the suffering of others. It's promiscuous. It will lie with the left, right, center. It lies with Christians. It lies with Muslims. It lies with Jews. It lies with Buddhists. It lies with Hindus. And human beings were so wretched in the first place. If we don't undergo some kind of spiritual and moral cultivation, we end up falling back on greed and hatred and indifference. And I mean, the American Empire at this moment is one in which the lethal combination of the hatred and the greed and the indifference generates very much the exchange that we just saw. You see, this brother right here says, well, all leftists want to see me dead. Well, I'm a leftist. I don't want to see you dead. I'm a Christian.
You called Trump's administration a neo-fascist movement, you lunatic. People have gone out
You're
of
absolutely
your way.
right.
You have gone out of your way.
Let me make the case. Let me make the case. Let me make the case.
Oh, yeah,
Will you allow me to speak, brother? Come on, man. Come on. No. You haven't made the case. If you think I've made the case, then you're not interested in dialogue.
You just said this brother over here said this.
You're very, very different, brother.
For the record, they got old homeless looking Cornel West in the suit here. They got him on record for calling Trump and the right Nazis and fascists over 2,000 times. Over 2,000 times. And now he wants to play damage control. So now he's being G-checked on that.
Charlie, man. You're very different than Charlie, though, man. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
and I can make a case for that,
people
too.
like you that got that man killed, sir.
No. There are such a thing as neo-fascists. But Pierce, why you have a brother on who's not going to allow nobody to speak, man? We just wasting time. If all you're interested in is making your money, and you bring this brother on it, and nobody can say a word, and we can't even mourn Brother Charlie passing. I had dialogues with Brother Charlie. This brother's going to say, oh, this kumbaya and so forth. No, Charlie was made in the image of a loving and mighty God. I believe that. I say my prayers for Sister Erica and the kids, because this brother wants to trash my Christian sensibility. And look at him laughing now. It's a joke, man. Pierce, it's not worth it.
Is Charlie Kirk part of the neo-fascist movement?
Not with this brother.
Is he part of your neo-fascist movement?
Not with this brother.
Yeah.
When Charlie himself says that he is against Civil Rights Act, does that make him a proponent of Jim Crow? When he calls Martin Luther King Jr. an awful human being and a scumbag?
There it is.
I'm critical of that. I am critical of that. You're absolutely right, Brother Wilson. You're absolutely right. But if all you're going to do is be arrogant, you're arrogant just like the so-called leftists you're talking about. But
for the record, I've never heard him say that about MLK. Like, I mean, white people all around the world, especially in America, they loved this from MLK because he was nonviolent. The Republican Party, they loved MLK because he was a Republican, like we were, before they decided to take him out and give us civil rights, before they gave us integration and welfare and feminism. I'm gonna have to actually look that up, but I played the Cornel West segment just to show you that, in all honesty, that's what it's like for me. That's what it's like talking to a black Democrat. This guy's what, in his 60s? And he can't even control himself on the panel. He can't even control himself on the panel. And just think, he ran for president.
Pierce, you making your money, brother. Go on and make your money, man.
It's all about making.
Not worth it.
Cornel,
this brother
it's all
right
about
here,
making
part
money.
of the
Mama
problem.
raised
This
behavior.
other brother who has a deep connection to Charlie, he's willing to at least listen, but this brother's not willing to
Cornel,
listen.
can you sit down? I would like you to remain part of the debate.
Because you're a hypocrite.
This is ridiculous.
He was a hypocrite.
This is ridiculous. He's smoking his cigarettes with his arrogant self. Come on, man.
Yeah,
We
'cause
don't
you're a
have enough
hypocrite.
dialogue at all.
Surely you're not going to walk
Why
out
don't
in
you
a
cry?
debate
Why
about
don't you cry
dialogue.
more?
Go on and make your money, man.
Right. Well, there's a kind of farcical to quit a debate where we're literally debating about the importance of free speech and being able to listen to each other's opinions, which seems to me completely insane. Anyway, we've lost Cornel West for now. Maybe we'll get him back. Well, Andrew Wilson referred to Destiny's insane tweets a little earlier, which were disavowed by Anna Kasparin. Well, Destiny joins us now.
Now, before we get into this Destiny thing, you say, this moron has the audacity to tell them, brothers and sisters, a serpent can shed its skin, but it's still a serpent. Anakin Skywalker. Yeah. Well, here's the thing, Destiny. This is what got Destiny kicked off of Twitch. His biggest money-making platform. This interview right here. Elon Musk, because I mean, when billionaires talk to each other, stuff happens. These guys go to dinner parties, operas, and they vacation together. You say Destiny is crashing out on Trump. Yeah. I mean, when you know how they talk about how lawyers, how your defense lawyer and the prosecutor get together after the case for drinks and decide whether or not you're gonna do between 20 years and 3. They already pretty much have decided how much time you're gonna get for what you've been charged with, over cocktails. And then, of course, they go to the judge. They let the judge know what's up. And then you have this whole dog and pony show in the courtroom where you plead out. And, next thing you know, you're doing like 3 years. You're out in a year and a half on good behavior. And then, you're on parole and you're saying you're a parole officer for the remainder of your time. Yeah, that's what Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk and all them do. It doesn't matter what they say about each other in public. Behind closed doors, it's a whole different story. Just like Jasmine Crockett acts like a ratchet ghetto chick out in public, but behind closed doors, she's not speaking in blackface. Her blackface routine drops behind closed doors, or when she's sitting in front of white people begging them to keep her seat, trying to plead her case. All that sister girl ghetto talk. Where is it? You know that she stopped wearing those ridiculous weaves. I guess it's time to get serious, but it's too late. But I digress. Let us get into this.
Destiny, you've been quite active on social media since Charlie Kirk's death. When Erica Kirk posted Charlie's coffin, you responded, she tagged him, brackets, crying face emojis. in response to Alina Habber's tweet ordering people to fly their flags a half-mast in memory of Charlie. You posted on X buying flags and poles just to fly them fully erect. And you then posted yesterday, ending every conservative debate call out I'd do in 2026 with "Don't dodge, bro. That's not what Charlie would have wanted." I mean, do you think that your response to the cold-blooded murder of Charlie Kirk has been appropriate?
Yes. I think that the only way this country moves forward into a better world is when conservatives can finally realize that they need to turn the temperature down on their side. We are 10 years into whatever this Trump madness is, and there is not a single mainstream conservative that will call for a lowering of the temperature on their side. I think that liberals need to wake up and finally realize that if they're not willing to do it, it will never come down. If you wanted Charlie Kirk to be alive, Donald Trump shouldn't have been president for the second term. Every time he's in office, this happens. People joked about when Biden came in, it was so boring, nothing was going on. 7 out of 10 of the largest protests in American history have happened under Donald Trump. All of the recent political violence that's happened in this country over the past 20 years, the majority of it, the overwhelming majority of it, everybody gets mad because they keep asking Grok about it, has been conservative.
Who shot Charlie Kirk?
A guy from Utah who was raised in a Christian family, who was a 22-year-old
A guy
white
described.
dude. He wasn't
Destiny.
trans. He didn't have a trans girlfriend. He didn't have any trans influences. He didn't have any trans bullets. Yeah, I'm sorry. You guys were wrong on all of that.
To be clear,
of course, we all know that, yes, this dude was radicalized once he got to college. I don't know if he was already gay, but he started banging a trans male, trans female, whatever. A guy in a skirt wound up being his little boyfriend / girlfriend, however you want to call it. They were lovers, playing ashy footsies, rusty footsies under the sheets, biting headboards and pillows. Bruh, I hope you're ready to start. You were probably pitching in the relationship. You'll definitely be catching in your new relationships in prison until your execution comes about. So you're going to have stretch marks all around this. You're going to have matching stretch marks, both top and bottom. But yeah, we already know. He wound up being radicalized in college and became like Destiny. He became like Destiny. Unhinged.
The governor of Utah, Spencer Cox, has made it clear that their investigation has now established that he had been radicalized by a leftist ideology, which drove him to do this. That's just
I'm sorry, excuse me, when?
Yesterday, he said that.
No. When was he radicalized? In the 6 months that he did remote college?
I don't know when he was radicalized, but I do know.
What you just said
I do know
true.
the very reasonable sounding governor of Utah has made it clear that the
he hasn't made it
you may
clear.
not want
he
to
said
hear
this. Is
this.
An ongoing investigation.
You may not want to hear it, Destiny. But the reality is, the investigators, according to the governor of Utah, have established that he was radicalized to a leftist ideology that drove him to murder Charlie Kirk. Now, let me just ask you.
That's just not true.
Let me just
There's
ask
no
you.
way to deal with it.
Okay, you're accusing the governor of lying.
Yeah.
That's your prerogative. But
sure.
If it turns out to have been somebody with a leftist ideology who wanted to shut up Charlie Kirk, would you condemn that?
I won't condemn anything until the president of the United States can go on air and say, all of us need to calm down.
So you won't condemn the murder of Charlie Kirk until Donald Trump says something.
I'm a YouTuber. Leftists and Democrats have been condemning and turning down the temperature, condemning violence, turning down the temperature for a decade. Donald Trump can't go on TV and say, all of us need to calm down.
Right.
Can you tell me why he cannot?
Why would you expect anybody, Destiny?
You can't answer that. Can you answer that question? Why can't Trump
you
go
answer
on TV
this
and say,
question?
all of us should be less violent.
Why do you
can't
think?
Trump say that?
Why do you
Why
think?
is your behavior contingent on Donald Trump?
Insane right now.
Why do you
is
think?
your
No, let me
behavior
ask a
contingent
question.
on Donald Trump?
Let me ask a question.
Because he's the president of the United States of America and the leader of the opposing political party.
Destiny. Let me
You have a huge audience of young men who listen to everything you have to say. So when it doesn't matter. You have a huge audience, and because of the fact that you have a huge audience, you have a responsibility to not turn. No,
And
it
your
hasn't.
brain
It
has
hasn't been
been
broken. I
destroyed
actually care
because
about the
people
country
bullied you on
and want to bring
Twitter.
people together.
If
You
then
do the
you should tell
opposite.
Donald
You
Trump to
represent
tell
the
people
worst
to
of us,
be
Destiny.
less
You're
violent.
embarrassing.
You should tell
You're
Donald.
embarrassing.
All right, let me ask
Watch how
Destiny
easy
a
this is.
question.
Watch how easy this
No,
is.
hang on.
If
Donald,
Trump would've
shut up
come out
once,
and say-
please.
If Donald Trump would have come out
Destiny,
and say, "Hey, we should
I-
all be less violent,"
Destiny,
I have no problem saying.
I have one
absolutely.
question for you,
Why
Destiny.
can't conservatives do that? Why can't
Destiny.
conservatives do that?
Destiny. Hey, I have a question for you. Why do you think in your campaign for everyone to dial down
Damn,
the
my mic
temperature,
was off.
why do you think that mocking?
I'm sorry, my mic was off. I'm sitting up here, I done went into a whole thing. Yeah, I'm sorry, my mic was off. But to sum it up, what I was saying was how if I put it to you like this, okay. What was the character on Undercover Brother? What was it Conspiracy Brother? Was that Dave Chappelle's character, Conspiracy Brother? Remember when Eddie Griffin said good morning to him? And all of a sudden he had a fit and talked about how that was a white supremacist word and everything like that. No, I paused it because I was on the phone. But at any rate, you got black people that's out here acting like that. Like if you say good morning to them, all of a sudden they want to give you this whole history lesson on the word good morning. Yep, conspiracy. Thank you. They want to give you this whole history lesson on the word good morning. How, the slave master and this, and after he get finished having the night with your wife and he see you out in the field, good morning, Charlie. How's your wife? They say stupid stuff like that. If you say good morning to one of those type of people and they decide to snuff you because of that, is that okay? Do we blame you for that? Get off me. Do we blame you for that? Because that's what you're doing. If it's good for you, if what's good for the goose is good for the gander, right? So if it's okay to take somebody out because you didn't like what they say, then it's okay for somebody to take you out because they didn't like what you said, right? You could accidentally bump into somebody at the line at the grocery store. Oh, excuse me. That ain't enough. And then they just smoke you right there. They're justified, right? Because they didn't like what you said. Is that where we are? Is that where we are?
The grieving widow of Charlie Kirk, when she posts an image of her at the coffin side, why do you think that constitutes turning down the temperature?
You can't turn down the temperature on your own. The president of the United States is not
the temperature.
able.
You're mocking his widow. You're mocking his widow.
We've had multiple political assassinations over the past year. What do you mean it's turning up the temperature?
Why did you mock his widow?
Online?
Why did you mock his widow?
Because she's being used as a political weapon right now
Wow.
for conservatives to continue. What do you mean? Wow, she's literally doing.
Her husband just got murdered
on email. Yeah, she's using it to drive up recruitment for.
And
a
you
political
can't even
movement.
condemn the murder. You won't condemn it.
Can't even tell his side.
You're
to
so
turn the
deranged
down.
about Trump that you
are
cannot condemn the
unhinged.
murder
It is such
because
a
you're
joke,
waiting
and
for
you guys
Donald
sit here
Trump
and
to say
make money
something.
off of it. It's
All right, let me bring
crazy
in
to me that
Jack.
Republicans can't
Let me
do
bring
it.
in Jack
What a joke of the
Posobiec.
world.
I gotta
And
say,
there's still no answer to that question, Piers. You can't say
which question?
Why can't Donald Trump simply go on TV and say we all need to turn it down,
Fine.
like Biden could, like Obama could,
Fine.
like the Clintons could, like Kamala could? Why
Fine.
not?
Why can't you condemn the murder of Charlie
it's
Kirk?
unbelievable. I'm not the president.
Why
of the United
can't
States.
you
can't answer that
condemn the
question. It's
murder of Charlie Kirk?
Unbelievable to me.
Why can't you condemn the murder of Charlie Kirk?
Because it wasn't my side that caused it. It should
Yes,
be the
it
one that
was.
is driving up
It
the
actually
rhetoric.
was your side that caused it. It
This
was
an
your
18
side.
This guy was raised in a white Christian
He was a
household,
radicalized
in a Christian
leftist
state.
ideology.
He wasn't radicalized by leftism at all. You have no proof of that whatsoever.
That's what
Just
the
like
investigators
one that killed
are
Melissa
saying.
Was a conservative, just like the people that firebombed Shapiro's house was a conservative, just like all.
The guy that firebombed Shapiro's house was not a conservative. That homeless looking mountain dude. Remember the governor's mansion? The guy firebombed it with a beer bottle. He burned up the banquet hall. Yeah, he wasn't a conservative. He was a leftist. Just like the guy that shot, Sarah, not McBride. I forget her name, but up in Minnesota, they shot those 4 legislators. He shot 4. 2 survived. Her and her husband and the dog died. He was a liberal. These people are liberals. These are liberal, violent offenders.
The J6ers were conservatives, like the Proud Boys were conservative. Every single one of these people. Oh, it's Jack Posobiec, what, the author of Unhuman, another person that Charlie's put a good one, dude.
I'll give you one last chance, Destiny, to condemn the murder of Charlie Kirk.
Yes, you are acting like an unhuman.
Why can't I hear Donald Trump condemn violence in this country?
All right, you won't condemn it. Okay, we've all heard.
That's insane.
We've all heard you repeatedly refuse to condemn it.
And we've heard Donald Trump refuse to condemn it
Jack
too. But for
Posobiec.
some reason, the leftists on YouTube are a bigger deal. Unbelievable.
Yeah, what's incredible is you don't have the basic humanity to condemn it. You'd rather taunt his widow. I find that sickening. Jack Posobiec.
I find it sickening that when people are getting killed in the country, the president of the United States on Fox and Friends, when they're begging him, what do you say to your followers that want revenge? He says, I don't know, all the elections are rigged. It's the radical Democrats. That's insane to me. And
I didn't even watch that interview. I caught like a piece of it. I mean, I was so busy. I wanted to cover it, but again, we're days later. I'm not even worried about it, but I'm gonna go back and watch it tonight. Because I don't believe that that's what he said, because the left loves to lie about what somebody else has said. But
then the fixation is, well, who on Twitter and YouTube isn't condemning the violence?
Right. Yeah.
All right, Jack Posobiec.
You have a great example here of the type of cancer I'm talking about, where when you present direct information, they refuse, they obfuscate, they refute, they say it's not true, they lie. You could see from the bullet casings, you could see from postings, you could see from everything out there that, it's very clear what happened here. This is the same people who supported President Trump almost getting assassinated twice last year, Cory Carpentore being assassinated
by conservatives.
Last year in a situation. Again, see, just lies. That's all they do. They talk over. They don't even let you give a chance to speak. And something needs to be done, Piers. Something absolutely needs to be done. This ideology should be shamed, humiliated, driven from the public discourse. I mean, you've got people who have completely dissociated with humanity because all they care about clicks and YouTube streams and likes. Go to the casket, go to the gravesite, go talk to the widow. I don't even know how to discuss this with someone who's completely lost all touch with reality.
Yeah, I mean, Anna.
What's Jack's answer to why can't the president say we should all be less violent?
Right. Because you can't even condemn the cold-blooded execution of Charlie
Donald Trump
Kirk.
turns on Destiny.
I don't think you're in the position to
says,
demand anything from anybody
on YouTube. That's how I'm going to take my.
You're not in any position to condemn anybody.
First and foremost, Donald Trump don't give a shit what you got to say, Destiny. You're an unhinged lunatic. That's why you lost your show. Oh, we'll cover that. He lost his show on Twitch, which was his biggest platform. That was his biggest moneymaker. Like I said, Elon Musk got to talking to Jeff Bezos, the owner of Twitch, and boom, Destiny's gone. Hassan Piker is getting ready to be eliminated too. He's gonna, just like Jimmy Kimmel, just got fired, just got yanked off the air. Because, people tend to forget that freedom of speech does not, they forget the byline. Freedom of speech does not mean you have freedom of consequences. Yes, you have the freedom to call my mother a bitch, but the consequences is going to be me punching you in the face several times. You're free to say it without going to jail for saying it, but the consequences are a whole different matter altogether. People forget that there's a byline there. They truly forget that there's a byline there. It's like faith without works is dead. All they hear is faith without works. Like, yeah, it's dead. God ain't just gonna give you free stuff. God is not the welfare office. You gotta earn it. Yeah, they were killed for a reason. Karma. He thinks he talks so fast makes him intelligent. Exactly. He just sounds like he's on drugs. Say Hassan Campbell's getting Snotbox Rocker right. Oh, that's what I was talking about. That's what when my mic was off. I was talking about Anna Kasparian here. Her and Cenk Uygur. Cenk Uygur is on record several times calling Trump a Nazi and a fascist. All right. Anna sits here and she's called ICE, the Gestapo, when she was on CNN on the Scott Jennings show starring, with Abby Phillips. Yeah, she called ICE agents the Gestapo for wearing masks. And I'm like, well, they wear masks because they're dealing with criminals, like cartel member criminals. And when you dox these people, normally what shows up is Antifa, which is about to be designated a terrorist organization, which means they're about to get a foot up their tail feathers. But Cenk Uygur, on the previous episode, one of the, was it Benny? It wasn't Benny Johnson. It was one of the other YouTube podcasters. By the way, because podcasters, they don't mean anything. Yes, they do. You're thought leaders. People listen to you. They cling to your words. They believe in what you say. I mean, it's like YouTube. Okay, not just YouTube. Social media has formed cult-like followings. Cult-like followings. When my aunt passed, and she used to have a radio show up in Cleveland, we went up there for the memorial. You say brain corn? We went up there for the memorial, and she had a couple of her listeners there, and this one listener, this woman sounded so, it was like one of those, listening to her talk, it was one of those back away slowly type of things. You keep eye contact and you just back away slowly and try not to make any sudden movements. I mean, you have some seriously delusional people that will listen to your programs and take everything that you say is gospel. And if you tell them to jump, they won't ask how high. They'll just do it. So if you're out here calling somebody a Nazi and a fascist, and then start saying threatening words, they need to be taken out, they need to be punched in the nose and all of this stuff. Well, look at the people who are out here attacking people over politics. Left-wing radical lunatics, psychopaths. Look at their pictures. Look at their mugshots. I think the last 10 mass shootings, like school shootings, have been trans people getting terminated for violating the speech. Right. And when you look at these people getting fired for celebrating this man's death, look at these people are not people that you would hang out with. You wouldn't have a beer with these people. You wouldn't invite them to the cookout. These are the people that if you see in Walmart, you're expecting them to crash out. These are the people that you get on your cell phone, rolling around on the floor, throwing stuff off of the shelves, freaking out, causing the public disturbance. These are those people. But Cenk Uygur, him and Anna, they're two peas in the pod. She may not be or claim that she's no longer a Democrat. She's now an independent, but she still has Democrat brain rot. She still has that brain rot in her. It's going, you know what? And I don't empathize with her. Well, actually, I have a very little empathy for her, because when I had to come up off of that plantation, I was still somewhat stuck in that. I was still watching CNN. But then when I started doing Embrace Villainy last year, I really started seeing the truth, the effects of what the hell was really going on out here in the streets, to the point it was giving me headaches. like migraines at the amount of degeneracy that was being done by our people. You goddamn right they sending in the National Guard. Midnight basketball is not going to fix this.
For anything, you won't condemn a cold-blooded murder.
He's the president of the United States. He's the president of the United States. No one here can answer that question.
Basic humanity says the murder was horrific. Why can't you say it?
To be less violent.
Why can't you say it, Destiny?
For over a decade.
To say the murder was horrific and unacceptable.
Why can't Donald Trump say it?
You can't do it, can you?
Why does no one hear any words for Donald Trump?
All right, Anna Kasperin.
Donald Trump. Nothing exactly.
Anna Kasperin. To me, this is what I'm talking about, that I think there is an element of the left, the hard woke left, that have completely lost their minds.
Oh no, if you say so, now they're getting fired from their jobs and careers for saying, what meaningful way they're celebrating, but what is their next move? You mean the people got fired? Because I'm telling you right now, the right is done playing. In fact, before I bring Anna in, I did watch some videos this morning. Walking to go get my car and trying to do my shopping and everything in between, talking to my homies. Kash Patel and the FBI are not playing. The FBI is not playing. They're compiling a database and they're going after the worst of the worst. They are not playing. They're not playing. And yes, they are serious about bringing in George Soros and other millionaires and billionaires who have been funding. They said they're funding terrorism. They're bringing these people up on RICO charges. They're just following the money. They're not joking. They're serious. But let's go.
If you are not able to just outright simply condemn the murder of Charlie Kirk, and if you cannot stop yourself from mocking his grieving widow, you are sick, as I've just seen from Destiny.
The sick thing mindset. Is weaponizing a widow's grief to try to do recruitment for your political party. That's probably one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen. She's showing up in emails for recruitment drives for TPUSA.
What did you think the assassination of a political figure would do? What did you think the outcome was going to be? What did you think the outcome was? And by the way,
are you asking me for the pragmatic political outcome, or are you asking me for?
Hey, how about take it easy on the Adderall? Take it easy on the Adderall, and let me answer the question that Pierce asked me.
You must have been really bullied today.
My behavior is not reliant on how anyone else behaves. Every morning I wake up and I make decisions about how I choose to react or respond to things. I don't wake up in the morning, check what Donald Trump has to say, and then base my own personal behavior on his behavior. I agree with you in that it would be very helpful to have the leader of this country want to turn the temperature down. And he hasn't done that. I agree with you on that. But that doesn't change the way I choose to respond to what's going on. The idea of mocking a woman who is now a widow with 2 young children who witnessed her husband get shot in the neck and bleed out to death. How can you mock that? What is wrong with you? I just don't understand it. That's it. I don't understand it. I don't understand you, Destiny. You have so much hatred in your heart, and at the same time, you
it's such a simple thing. If you're going to weaponize somebody's grief against the other party, well, then of course people have a right to fight back against it. I think that she has every right to grieve in whatever way she wants, but when that grief is going to be weaponized to do recruitment, political recruitment, and further radicalization of the other side, then of course you not only have the ability to mock it, I think you have the obligation to mock it. It's insane.
Let me understand your argument. So since others are using her grief to politically recruit, you think that it's okay to mock her specifically?
Since others are using her grief, she's the one who gave a 17-minute speech on TV where she talked about good versus evil. She's the one showing up in TPUSA ads to 1 or 2 days after.
If someone assassinated my husband, I would not be able to have the level of composure she had during that speech. I would be out for blood. I understand why she's angry and why she said the things that she said. Okay, you need to understand what being a human is, what it's like to actually lose someone that you love, that you chose to spend your life with, that you chose to raise children with, a person who was violently and viciously assassinated like that. This is why I've moved away.
And when
from
something, yeah, I know, yes,
identifying
because
as
you got bullied online. It's so funny. It's so funny that you just
so
said that
embarrassing
you
on
don't
the
think about
left.
how other people act to define your behavior. Your entire political ideology now is somehow defined by the people that were mean to you on Twitter.
No,
if somebody
it's
cares
not.
about somebody who's
No,
grieving,
I understood
then you tell that
what
person,
the flaws
you
on
tell
the
that
left
person,
happen to
hey,
be. The
maybe you
weakness
should
in their
step back for a
arguments.
couple of
No,
weeks.
no, it's
Maybe you
not
should
about
take
the
some
way
time
I
to
get
grieve.
treated.
You don't
I
say,
get treated
hey, let's
like
throw a
crap from
camera in
both
front
sides
of
of
you
the
and have
political
you do
aisle.
mass recruitment for our political party while everyone over here is calling for civil war. It's unhinged. When you've got people like Matt Walsh and the Daily Wire, the
we're
president
talking
of the
to a
United States
guy
calling
who
for
said
civil
he'd be
war.
okay with his own parents getting killed if they went to that Trump rally where that assassination attempt
and we're talking
happened.
to a
There's
woman
no
who went
reasoning
on and
with
did
you,
the whole
Destiny.
conservative media
There's
outlet with
there's
Tucker
no
Carlson
reasoning
and
with
Glenn
you.
Beck and had
Okay.
nothing bad to say whatsoever. I know where your bread is buttered. I know where
And
you're
it was
making your money
great. I
from.
had
Okay, that's
awesome
great.
conversations.
And you
I
do
don't
with the
regret
person-
it
I
at
know,
all.
that's great.
I also had a
And keep up with the
conversation
personal
with Jack
attacks 'cause you're
Posobiec
so
on her take. It was
brain-broken.
awesome.
Yeah, I know.
That's
Jack,
what
the guy, everything
democracy is
gets
about.
by
Having
Russia
an
that
exchange
lies
of
about everything that
ideas.
comes out of his
Yeah.
mouth. Yeah,
All right,
great.
let me
That's a
bring
good
in.
one.
Let me
I
bring
don't
in.
agree with him on everything, but at
Still
least we
to
can
this
have
day.
dialogue.
Anna,
No
Anna,
one on
you're
here can
completely
go all
right,
the
by the
dialogue.
way.
Sure, it
Anna
sounds
is
like right now.
completely
Charlie,
right.
didn't it?
And the irony of Charlie Kirk is that he led the way in going in to debate with people who hated him, and he would try and have respectful
Charlie
dialogue.
Kirk beat up
Well,
on college students.
unlike
That's all
you,
he did.
Destiny.
Let's be
Let me
real.
bring
Unlike
Andrew
me,
Wilson
I'm
in.
So do
arguing,
you.
I'm not- yeah.
Let me
What do
bring
you
in
mean? So
Andrew
do you.
Wilson.
So do you. You beat up on college students. You go on a college. You're
Charlie
going on a
Kirk is
college
trying to
tour
hold
right
higher
now
level
to
debate.
beat
You
up
guys
on
know
college students. What are you talking about, Destiny? That's what you're doing right this second. Is going on a college tour to go beat up on college students. By the way, can I just ask you a question?
I don't
Yes or no?
exclusively beat up on college.
Can you actually answer? Can you actually answer? Hang on, calm down. I just got one question. I got one question for you, and I want you to actually answer it. Are you glad Charlie Kirk is dead?
No, I don't think anybody in this country should be dying to political violence. It's insane. The past 5 years in this country has been crazy. But the reality is, until conservatives,
so then why did you say to your co-host that Trump deserved a bullet? Why did you tell him that?
Until conservatives have to say, hey, we all need to be less violent, there's no purpose in Democrats doing it, because every time Democrats disavow, you further entrench your guys' delusional beliefs that all the violence is coming on the left.
When have y'all ever heard Democrats disavow violence? I have yet. They always try to flip it like, oh, this person was a Republican. This person was a Republican, but it turns out that they weren't.
Donald Trump can go on TV. He can say, Proud Boys, stand back and stand by. They can go on Parler and say, we heard you. They can go to the Capitol and break in and try to insurrect. They can get convicted in front of a jury, and then Donald Trump can pardon them. And we can come out and go, hey, guys, why aren't Democrats disavowing violence? Pretend that the problem is coming from the left. Democrats do a disservice to this country by disavowing violence constantly when the president of the United States
Let me respond
won't go on TV
quickly.
and say, all of us need to be less violent. How
Destiny.
easy
So
would that
the
be?
thing is, why did you say to your co-host
keep
that
focusing on me.
the bullet,
I'm
the bullet,
not here to
that
play
the
crazy
bullet
blood.
was for Trump? Why did you say to your co-host that the best place for the bullet was Trump? Why did you say that?
Why did Donald Trump call
It's a
everyone fascist?
whataboutism.
That's what's
Whataboutism.
Yeah,
I'm
that's what
asking
you're
you a
doing right
question.
Now. Whataboutism. The
I can't be
conversation is about
whataboutism
what
if it's
I
my
said. The
question,
conversation is,
Destiny.
Why won't Donald Trump disavow
Answer
violence in
the
United
question.
All right, why don't we do this? Why don't we do this? Why don't we do this before I cut mics?
Because you don't care.
Destiny,
you don't care that Kirk's dead. Just
Destiny,
be honest,
allow
you fuck.
Andrew,
Just be
allow
honest, you
Andrew,
fuck.
allow Andrew to repeat his question and let him ask the question. Then you answer it, okay, Andrew?
No, I want to hear the other
No,
side
no,
first.
let him ask the question.
Donald Trump
Let him
disavow
ask
violence in
the
this
question, Destiny, and then you answer it. Andrew.
Destiny told his co-host when asked point blank if he wanted the bullet to kill Trump, that the worst thing that could have happened was the bullet missing. He said this to Pisco. I watched it. Okay. This guy's an obfuscation machine. And if you know what else, Destiny, why should we believe you? I think you are glad Kirk is dead. And all of your tweets seem to prove that. And you would have been happy if Trump was assassinated. You've made that very clear. So why not just be truthful for once in your fucking life and say the truth, that you don't care that Kirk is dead and you're actually probably glad he is. Isn't that really what's true?
I don't want anybody in this country to die to political violence. I don't think in the United States of America that should be happening. I don't know why it's so hard for the president to say the same. I think it'd be the easiest thing in the world as a president. Biden did it for 4 years. That's why everything was way cooler when he was here, like in terms of temperature. The Clintons have no problem saying it.
No, the temperature was not cool when Biden was in office. You had FBI agents literally stalking parents for not wanting their kids to be not have pedophile books in the schools. So they didn't want their kids going to drag time story hour, drag show story hour. They didn't want their children having people like Dr. Umar, school psychologists, telling them that, you know, the changes that they're feeling in their young teenage bodies that everybody goes through, you know, we call it puberty / growing pains. That means that you were born in the wrong body. So let's not tell your parents that we're going to slip you these puberty blockers and that you're going to change your name. The name that your parent gave you, that's your dead name. You know, now go by another name. And in legislation, if your parent calls you by the name that they give you, your dead name, then that's child abuse. And the state can take you away from your parents. And you can go live with this pedophile trans person. Teachers having getaway bags in their classrooms, in the closets. Yeah, you had these parents were under FBI surveillance, FBI harassment, CPS taking the children away from the parents because their kids were being groomed by these pedophiles in school to think this way. Just like you now have all these college kids who think that somebody getting murdered is a celebration because, and as you see, a lot of teachers, both college and high school, junior high, elementary, are getting fired for the things that they've been doing for celebrating this man's death. One teacher showed his middle school students, 11, 12 years old, showed them the video on repeat while he gleefully talked about this is what he deserves. Of course, he got fired. You have to clean out the school system. Oh, no, there was no peace under Biden. It's just that y'all were in control. You would beat people down for speaking common sense. You were forcing people to call a dude in a dress a she, them, and all of this stuff, or else they would get canceled. Oh no. In 2025, it's the consequences of my own actions.
Barack Obama has no problem saying it. Kamala Harris has come out and said it. Every Democratic lawmaker and leader has basically come out and said it. But for some reason on the Republican side, it's just civil war, civil war, civil war. And the Republican president of the United States, who has presided over more violence politically in this country, more large protests than any president in all of U.S. history, for some reason can't bring himself to say, all of us need to calm down.
So did Trump deserve the bullet? Did Trump deserve the bullet?
This is all you care about are the political hit jobs.
Just answer the question, bro. Did Trump deserve the bullet?
Did Donald Trump
deserve the bullet
on his side ever? Did Donald Trump
answer the question? Did Trump deserve the bullet?
You can't answer the question. We're here to play.
No, bro, it's my turn to ask the question. It's your turn to answer.
Did Trump deserve the bullet? Did Trump disavow violence in this country ever?
Did he deserve the bullet? Yes, he's disavowed violence. But again, I just did. Now your turn. Now your turn. It's your turn. Did Trump deserve the bullet?
I never said that. No, I never said that. No.
Yes, you did.
Okay, except you did to your co-host.
No, I didn't. Oh, wait. When did Donald Trump disavow? Wait. When did Donald Trump disavow violence in this country?
Your co-host, you lying sack of shit. If he wanted to kill Trump, the
no
worst thing that could have happened was the bullet missing.
That's
what you said.
This is yeah. And this is where when you're putting YouTubers and tweeters on the same level as the president of the United States, this is why conservatives are absolutely brain broken when it comes to violence in this country. And that's why it'll continue.
But Destiny, Destiny,
Destiny, I'm going to turn around and be like, I can't believe it. What's going on? What's happening here?
Okay, Destiny, if you care so much about political violence in America, why don't you lead the way yourself without mentioning anybody else? Why don't you, Destiny, right now just outright condemn the murder of Charlie Kirk?
Because we've been doing that for a decade. One side can't turn down the temperature.
You can't do it.
Can't turn down the temperature. If Donald Trump can't, then the left shouldn't until he does.
Got it. Okay, you don't want to do it.
Need accountability for their actions. They need some responsibility for the insanity.
He had it coming.
Even though you've taken on yourself. Let me bring in Jack Posobiec.
We absolutely.
All right, that's enough, Destiny. I'll bring in Jack Posobiec.
Yeah,
Jack.
okay. Nice. Both sides it.
Jack.
Yeah.
What is your response to this?
I mean, Piers, this is exactly what I'm talking about. You know, this type of ideology where you've got someone who's willing to mock Erica, who's been standing strong for her family, for her children, who's just.
By the way, this is Charlie.
She will never be able to grow old with Charlie. She will never be able to be with them again, have more children, to have grandchildren, to have those memories, to raise them. It's all gone. Every single moment of that future that they had was gone because someone fired a bullet at Charlie Kirk that said, "Hey, fascist, catch." And now you have people celebrating it. And when you ask people
That's
about
not even
it,
the
they
bullet
say,
that was fired. How are you lying about this?
Shut
even?
up, Destiny.
Holy
Shut up.
shit! You're so
Shut
shameless,
up.
dude. Oh my god! You're not even inside the right bullet. You're such a disgusting
Piers.
piece of shit. Holy fuck!
What a pedantic
Are we-
point. What a
are we
It's not
even gonna do
pedantic.
this?
This guy's a fucking professional
It's total
liar.
pedantry.
It's total
pedantry. Total
This guy
pedantry.
probably.
gonna do
I would like to let
Jesus.
Jack. I would like to let Jack finish his point, please.
Yeah,
and,
it's just
and
rant
they'll
here,
claim there's no leftist connection. They'll claim there's no there and then go so far as to lie and say there's some kind of Christian conservative connection when you could see the writing on the bullet casings. And so you know these are very common symbols associated whatever. The point is, right, it should be very, very clear. Are we connected with our humanity or are we not? And some people are willing to do that. Anna's been willing to do that. We've done shows together. They've been fine. They've been good. We've jousted. We've done the back and forth. Destin and I in the past have had shows together where before he kind of took this turn. And you think there are people who can just be willing to stand up for humanity.
Jack, it reminds me a bit of the journey I've gone on, very different circumstances, but the Israel-Hamas war. The reason I asked everybody on the pro-Palestinian side for months after the war started, do you condemn what Hamas did? Is I think it was very enlightening as to the humanity of the person by how they responded. If their immediate response was, of course I do, the mass murder of civilians on October the 7th was a horrendous atrocity, then we can move on to an intellectually honest debate. If they refuse to condemn what Hamas did, it's a completely different debate. And similarly, right now, I feel if you can't condemn a lot of what the IDF are doing, frankly, it's my opinion, in Gaza, then the same thing. If you're unequivocally like, it's all fine with 20,000 plus kids being killed, then I've got a problem with that too. But I do think you've got to try and maintain in all of these debates a modicum of humanity about people who are actually being killed. And what is terrifying about the mindset of a lot of people on the woke left have seen since Charlie Kirk's death is the brazen glee that they're taking to his murder. And then when I see even Destiny, who's a very well-followed person on the internet, well-known, when Destiny, frankly, if you can't bring yourself just to say the murder was horrific and should never have happened, it's a very simple sentence. It's just basic humanity. It really makes me despair for where everything is going, because it's indicative of the mindset of, I can't give an inch to my political opponents, therefore I lose my humanity. How can that be right?
Because you can't give an inch to political opponents that won't recognize or acknowledge anything they've done is wrong. It's all it's done is gotten us here. This is where we're at because of that exact mindset. Will any of the conservatives here acknowledge the conservative that murdered Melissa Hortman and her husband and shot?
That's Melissa Hortman. That's the chick up in Minnesota. The dude was not a conservative.
The other senator in Minnesota?
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
That it
disavow
was a
all
conservative
political
shooter?
violence.
That it was a
Yeah.
conservative shooter?
He wasn't conservative.
I don't know the details on that particular case. If
He
I
was.
did,
Of
and it
course
turned out
they
that it
don't,
was the, and it turned out
He
it was
worked
the
with Tim
case, of
Walz.
course, I would say that such violence should be disavowed. Thing is, you can't hold your entire moral standard based on
He wasn't he had a hit list, according to the letter that he wrote Cash Patel. And what they found in his car, he had a hit list that Tim Walz gave him. That's why I was kind of bugged. I'm like, well, what happened with that? How come they haven't brought Tim Walz in for a discussion? But come to find out, Tim Walz is connected to the CCP. But Trump let it be known the other day. Yeah, we're doing a whole full investigation on all of these people. A lot, because the Democrats are running a criminal organization. Let's just be honest. They're running a criminal organization. They were money laundering and everything. Trying to throw their political opponents in jail. There was a guy, where we at? 105, 32. This guy right here. You see this book he wrote, I Went to Prison So You Won't Have To. A love and lawfare story in Trumpland. He talked about how they threw him in jail just by being Trump's senior advisor in 26, in his first presidency, when he had immunity. He had immunity, and they threw him in jail. Lawfare.
2 young children there watching. It's a human reaction. I don't need to know what Donald Trump thinks about it. Hit the nail on the head here, which is she did not need to wait for Donald Trump to comment on this to make her own mind up about what had happened. That is intellectual honesty, right? Yes, it may be somebody that she totally disagreed with on many issues. The simple, humane thing to do with any event like this is to ask yourself, how do I personally feel about it?
We're going to talk
what
about
does
Jamie
Donald
Kimmel.
Trump think about it? Or what does Joe Biden think about it? Or what does Timbuktu think about it? It's what do I personally feel about this? It didn't take me very long, Destiny, to understand that I felt repulsed by the execution of somebody in cold blood with his wife and 2 young children there watching. It's a human reaction. I don't need to know what Donald Trump thinks about it at all. I don't understand why you need to wait for him before your own humanity.
I don't need to wait
kicks
for
in.
anybody. No, you're not asking how we feel about it. You're asking what the public statements should be. And the public statements should be the president of the United States.
I'm not.
Yes, you are.
No,
you're
I'm
asking
not.
me for a public statement
I'm
right
asking,
now.
where is your humanity? You can't just say the murder was
Where is your humanity,
wrong.
Piers? You guys are playing into this exactly. I think you probably know it. I think Cornell was right about this. You know where your bread is buttered as well. You guys play into this. It's insane to me that the president of the United States can't say, hey, all of us need to be less violent. We all need to calm the fuck down. That the president of the United States can't say this, but you will endlessly scour Twitter and YouTube for leftists to bring on and say, don't you guys disavow the violence? It's absolutely absurd to me.
You know, Cornel West should have stayed in his seat. We were debating free speech, actually, and whether
You're not debating free speech.
and whether
It's not
well, let
even
me
an equivalent
finish.
conversation,
Let me finish,
Piers.
and whether the
It's insane.
overuse of words like Hitler, Nazis, and fascists was actually empowering deranged young minds to think they were battling actual new Hitler, Nazis, and fascists. And actually, when Andrew pointed out to Cornell that he had used the phrase neo-fascist about Trump, that's when Cornell decided he couldn't take part in the debate anymore, when he was reminded of something he had said. He didn't try and deny it. He just said, I don't want to have this debate, and left.
Piers, how long have you been in the United States, following our politics?
Over 20 years, I've lived and worked in America.
Okay, if you've lived and worked in America, I grew up as a conservative listening to Rush Limbaugh and to Glenn Beck and to Billy Cunningham and to Sean Hannity. You're going to sit here and pretend like Democrats are the ones that started the name calling? I heard them call Obama and the Clinton socialists and communists.
When did I say that?
I heard them call... I'm just saying, why are we pretending that some people...
I'm saying, why did Cornel West...
household?
Why would Cornel West walk out on a debate when we're literally talking about...
Right, boom. You hear what Andrew just said? Andrew Schultz just said, oh, so you grew up in a conservative household? But then all of a sudden you flipped? How did that happen? To the point where he's talking like this. like some female, some drug addicted female. What happened? How did you get radicalized, Destiny?
The importance of speech makes no sense to me.
If speech is important, then the president should exercise it more cautiously.
So should you.
Republicans
you.
have been. You can't stop.
You've got millions of followers, and you think it's fine to show them you're mocking a widow.
You cannot choose for your opponent not to fight you.
Fine.
If Republicans
You mocked
won't
a
turn
grieving
down
widow.
the rhetoric, then who cares? Donald Trump
Who
shouldn't have
cares?
used the
Who
rhetoric
cares?
that led
Wow.
her to be
Who cares?
killed. 2 days before she
Who
dies.
cares
That's
that
all
you
tweeting
mocked
out
a grieving
pictures.
widow?
This is
There
all.
it is.
It's just virtue signaling.
There
You
it
guys
is.
think it's
Who
correct.
cares?
You guys are excited about it. You guys love it.
How is
You
it?
love
How
the
is it that you
violence.
said this
You
guy
love
can't
the
possibly be a
conflict.
leftist?
It's exciting to you. It's insane to me.
Yeah.
No.
How
this
is it that you
exciting.
said this guy can't be a
This isn't
leftist
good.
because he grew up in a white Christian household when you grew up in a white Christian household by your own admission just now and you're a fucking leftist, Destiny?
I'm
Can you explain that
36
to me?
years old. This guy was 22 and he lived at
What
home.
does that have to
basically
do with
his entire
anything?
life.
What does that have to do with
I
anything?
had 20 years to separate myself from my parents' ideology. I didn't live with them
Oh.
still. Jesus.
So 6 months, 1 year, 20 years? Why does it matter how long it took to separate? You just got to say it was impossible, and you yourself are a leftist who grew up in a Christian conservative household, dude.
Wah, wah.
You're the
You're
worst
asking me-
hypocrite
you're
I've
asking
ever
me-
seen.
Hold on.
You're the
I'm
worst
sorry. You think that a 22-year-old has as much time to separate himself from the ideology that he grew
Did
up
I
with
say
as
that?
a 36-year-old?
Didn't say
Yeah,
it.
you just made
It's
the
a
comparison,
pedantic,
dipshit.
stupid
Of course
point.
you did. It's not
Let me
picky.
ask
Dear, I seem to have spotted a cut. Good day.
Look at you.
Point.
Let me
You're the
jump
most
in.
radicalized
Let me
fucking
jump in.
Dear, I seem to have spotted a
Jack,
cut.
You
Good day.
know the Kirk family well. You've been around the Kirk family, I think, since this is appalling murder has happened. When you hear Destiny saying, "Who cares?"
What's
about the
up,
fact
man?
that he openly, publicly mocked Erica Kirk, a grieving widow, within literally
That was for
a day or
Destiny.
two of her husband being murdered. How does that make you feel as a friend of the family?
It's very angry, Piers. You know, and here's the thing: is she's seeing all of it. She's going to see all of it. Her kids are going to watch this video one day. It's just that's sort of the nature of reality now. They will see all of this, and they will see the reaction. And I just hope that those of us who knew Charlie, worked with Charlie, who knew Charlie beyond the, TikToks and short videos, can also be there for those kids as they grow up to let them know who their dad was.
And
Kids are going to grow up and watch old episodes of Piers Morgan uncensored. How performative is this? Is everybody here? Did we all get like a script before the show? What?
They watch a lot of.
What's the biggest fear that a lot of these little OnlyFans chicks? What's their biggest fear? These OnlyFans chicks, what's their biggest fear? Kim Kardashian, her biggest fear came to light. Because as we say, the internet is forever. And the messed up part about it is that the internet is normally run by algorithms. So you don't even have to go looking for mommy's sex tape. All you have to do is just be associated with mommy. Some of your little school friends, you're in junior high, they see, oh, damn, your mama hot. They see your mom, they know her name, they Google her name, especially now, especially after COVID. Google your mom's name, see if she got some bikini pics or something out there. Up pops her hacked and posted OnlyFans content. Timmy, this your mom? Wow, look, y'all, look at Timmy's mom. Oh, look at Timmy's mom. What the hell is she talking about, Destiny? Do you not know how the internet works? That's how the internet works, bro.
This is
old episodes of the
ridiculous.
so
JFK
embarrassing. You make the
assassination,
left
bro.
look so
Jesus.
bad, and you don't even realize it. You are
My God.
seriously so embarrassing.
Exactly. Where's the love?
Okay, yeah.
God.
You can talk to your best friend.
You really
Glenn
are.
Beck
I
about
mean,
it
like,
later,
you-
know, have
do you
another
feel-
30-minute conversation about it, Anna. Yeah,
Maybe I
talk about how
will.
the
Maybe I
mean
will talk to
wokies
Glenn
on-
Beck about
on
it.
Twitter
Oh, is
are
that
bullying you about it.
is that
Yeah.
is that
And, you know,
naughty? Is it
How many
naughty to have
conversations have you had with
people
Nick,
across the
bro?
aisle?
You guys have
You
in
had
common
more
now, because
conversations
people
with
on
Nick than
Twitter are
anyone.
So mean. Oh no, not the meanies on Twitter.
Anna,
How many
finish
more
your point.
Have
lawsuits are you
chicken
going to
and
face
waffles
from
with
women
Nick
that you
Fuentes?
allegedly secretly
Like, what do you
recorded
mean?
during intimate moments? Destiny, I can't believe anyone
are you
takes you
se- are you
seriously.
really?
You're
You wanna-
disgusting.
Ooh,
You're
Anna went
embarrassing,
low.
and you should be
Yeah, keep going,
shunned
Anna.
from
Yep.
public life with your
Anna pulled
disgusting
out the
treatment
dirt on
of all
you
sorts
got
of people,
bullied so hard
including
on
young
Twitter. This is what you
left-wing
become.
girls, women
You're turning
that you
more
victimized
blonde right now
allegedly.
in the window. You're
Yeah,
so,
that's who
you're
you
like
are.
2 shades away from being
You're
a Fox News
embarrassing.
host, Anna.
You
Keep
embarrass the
going.
left.
You got
You're
it.
the
Go get
type
the-
of
go get
person
some
who
lip
pushes
filler there.
people
You got
away
it,
from
dude.
the
You're
left.
so close,
Make
Anna.
sure you understand that.
Mhm.
You're
Yeah.
embarrassing. There's no morality with you. There's no grounding
Absolutely
values.
not.
There's
Of
no
course
principles.
not. Yeah.
All you want is attention, 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 attention. That's all you
Absolutely.
want.
Yeah, of course.
all
While
you
and
want.
Jen talk about
Endless
how
attention.
9/11 was
Say
caused by the
disgusting,
Jews, and you have
provocative
another
garbage.
another
You
friendly
want
conversation with
attention.
another
Yeah.
mainstream conservative commentator about how you're such a leftist, but those people on Twitter are so mean.
Having a debate or dialogue doesn't automatically mean that you agree with everything they have to say. It means you're coming
No, it's
together
when you sit down and you
you're
agree with
exchanging
everything they have to
ideas
say.
and
Then you agree with
debating
everything they
them.
have to say.
No, I don't agree with everything they have to
You
say.
do.
What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah, you do.
I
Of
don't
course
agree
you
with
do. What
everything
do
they
you
have
mean?
to say. But you know, I'm
When
an
you
adult.
sit down and
I
all
can
of your
sit down and
criticisms
have a
are
mature
for the
debate
left,
or
and you have no
conversation.
disagreements about anything on the right, yeah, that's called
I do have
agreement. is usually what we
criticisms for the
call it.
left. I have tons of criticisms for the right. Tons of criticisms. I'm obviously
Oh, they don't seem to come out
pro-choice,
much
for
when you're
instance.
talking to
I
your
obviously
conservative
have a
friends.
huge
Oh, the big
problem
guns, yeah.
with the unending, unmitigated support for Israel, regardless of the genocide they're engaging in. I have all sorts of disagreements with the right. That doesn't mean I'm going to dehumanize them and cheer on the slaughter of my fellow Americans because we have disagreements on politics. You're
I wish
embarrassing.
anybody here had the same energy for the president of the United States, but that's good. I'm glad you guys are focused where it really counts on Twitter and
Dude,
YouTube,
you
which
have
is what the
like
conservatives want you to be
TDS,
focused
like
on, you know?
you are like the prototype
TDS,
of TDS.
yeah, there it
It's
comes, yeah.
unbelievable.
The
You
TDS,
wake up every
yes.
morning and you decide your
Yes,
behavior is going
true.
to hinge on Trump.
Tell me
Well,
more about
who
the
are you as
dancing
an individual?
Israelis and
God,
building
have a
7
little bit
and
of
how
humanity.
the Jews all knew about 9/11
You're a
and they all
sociopath.
want us to go to war.
You're
in
a
the Middle East. Yeah, of course.
sociopath.
I'm
Let
a
me
I
bring
never
in-
once said
okay.
the Jews
Let me
were
bring in
behind
Jack
9/11.
again.
Not
Let me-
once. Don't make things up, you disgusting prick.
Let me
That's
bring
okay,
in
don't
Jack
worry.
again. Let me bring in Jack again. Jack, Peter Navarro earlier was talking about directly to Elon Musk about, in his view, the urgent need for Elon Musk to detoxify X, given that he owns the platform, and that he blamed X for a lot of the toxicity in public discourse. What do you feel about that?
Say
Well, you know,
yes, we need a hug from his mommy. Mommy, hug
I think
me.
there's obviously a tension
me
between
suck some breast milk.
standing and wanting free dialogue and freedom of speech, but also maintaining a line beyond calling for violence and calling for direct violence or direct criminal activity. So, you know, X in its original Twitter fashion, if you go all the way back to 2012, 2010, when it was really getting going, they used to pretty much the main things that were banned or would get taken down or get accounts banned were posting of direct addresses of people, so doxing, or posting direct threats to violence. And so I think there needs to be that line set of this is acceptable discourse, this is a back and forth, but the idea that a direct call for violence should be banned, I think that's something that I would support.
Andrew, what do you feel about the social media aspect of all this? Do you think that it is culpable to a degree in the surging toxicity of debate about these things?
Look, social media is a tool. And what social media has done right now is it's allowed us to get a glimpse into leftist ideology, finally. And we get to see the insane madness that was always there. And the fact of the matter is that, here on the panel right this second, you have a guy who celebrated a multitude of these types of things, including telling his co-host that basically Trump, the worst place that the assassin could have put the bullet was anywhere other than Trump. I mean, I got the clip of him doing it. And so the thing is like what we've noted now, these people are glad. They're glad. They're happy. They love it. I go on TikTok all the time and I debate with these people. It's very clear that leftists are glad that this happened and that they're going to do everything they can to promote more of it. And we're supposed to base our behavior on what the president does or doesn't say. What, like if I had Biden derangement syndrome, I couldn't still come out and condemn political violence? Of course I could. But the thing is
I'm just curious. Anybody have any words for the fact that Charlie Kirk said that Biden should have been executed?
Leftists collectively can't seem to do that, though. I don't know why they can't seem to do that.
No, that was fine with Charlie Kirk.
See, here's the thing. I don't know if y'all caught when I said this. I don't know if my mic was off when I said this or not, but like I said, Cenk Uygur was on here a couple episodes ago, and one of the guys that was on the panel brought up Cenk Uygur calling Trump the Nazi fascist and all of that stuff. And of course, Cenk Uygur tried to, deny it and all of this stuff. Like, dude, like I'm going through your YouTube feed right now, and there's several posts, several videos where you and Anna calling Trump a Nazi and a fascist. Back when he was back in 2016, when he was first president. What are you talking about? And this is the thing with Destiny, because Cenk Uygur pretty much pulled a Cornel West. No, I did not, because your livelihood is now on the line. But just like with Destiny, bro, the internet keeps receipts. The internet is forever. These people they've kept receipts. These conservative folks on these panels, they've kept the receipts. They screenshotted you. They've got your clips on their hard drives. They know exactly what you said. They can play it back for you in real time. Now is the time that these people are paying the piper. They have to pay the piper for what they've said. And they can't handle it. They can't handle it. They crash it out. You can tell these people never got an ass whooping in their life.
Anna, I want to mention something to you, which I was going to talk to Cornel West
Charlie
about.
Kirk was a moderate. He was more moderate than a local electrician.
Yeah, nice pivot.
He was more moderate than a local electrician, and you know that.
He said he wanted to see Biden.
You have debated with the worst, and I see you do it. You know,
Biden executed. Okay, give me a
no.
fucking
That's
break.
not what he
said. About any of this stuff.
That's not what he said. He said if you violate criminality and criminal laws, then that will be the case.
All right, I want to ask Anna.
There's not what's performative. What's performative?
Oh, wait, so if I say, oh, well, I think that guy was a criminal, therefore the execution is okay. Somehow that makes everything fine with no investigation, no criminal charges.
You say all the time that your political opponent should be in jail and highest extent of the law. You say it all the time. What are you talking about?
Sorry, no, that's Donald
saying
Trump.
the word performative doesn't mean anything.
The National Guard right now.
Oh, it's just performative.
Investigations into
that's just performative.
I want to bring Anna back in. I want to bring Anna back in. Okay, I want to bring Anna back in because the president-elect of the Oxford Union, probably the most premier debating society in the world. I've done it several times myself. George Aberonye reportedly posted several. He did post several comments in a WhatsApp group, appearing to celebrate the murder of Charlie Kirk. One said, "Charlie Kirk got shot. Let's fucking go." Another one was, I think, LOL. This guy is going to be the president of the Oxford Union Debating Society. And yet he is celebrating the murder of somebody he literally debated himself in the Oxford Union in May. I found that terrifying. He shouldn't still be in the job, because how can he possibly be the head of a debating society when you think the way to debate with people is murder them if they don't agree with you? But again, the gleeful celebration. This is supposedly one of the brightest students in Britain. President of the new Oxford.
Well, I mean, he can't.
Yeah, you see this? He debated Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk mopped the floor with him. I mean, and he couldn't handle it. Kirk mopped the floor with him and he couldn't handle it. You notice Umar talk about how he debated Elon's father or whatnot, but you don't see the clips of it, do you? You would think Umar would be posting the clips, trying to use it to hustle some money. You don't see him, do you? I wonder why.
Union Debating Society.
He can't be that bright if he's not considering what a political assassination could potentially lead to. Because where does this end? And that's like one of my biggest issues with a portion of the left. Their inability to see past the current moment, right? You're celebrating it, but what's the long-term goal here? Is the long-term goal to just have to descend to an environment of endless political assassinations and violence? And if we're going to have the left go up against the right in terms of violence, in terms of bloodshed, in terms of shootings, I don't know. I would just venture to say that the right is probably going to do a better job in, taking people out than the left is. This is just a really disgusting, sick ideology, and we need to move away from it. And again, I want to emphasize your personal behavior, the way you choose to behave and respond to things on a day-to-day basis has an impact. Okay, be the change you want to see in the world. So when you have a huge audience, and that audience of young people who look up to you, who feel inspired by you, hear you essentially minimize political violence or even make excuses for it or deflect by blaming Trump for everything, well, you're essentially indoctrinating people to support and normalize political violence. We can't be doing that. I don't care how people behave on the right. That's not going to have an impact on how I personally choose to behave. I want to be better than that. I want to preach dialogue, okay? Debate, have these conversations. And Charlie Kirk, the last debate he and I had, Destiny would like you to believe that I agree with the right on everything. I don't agree with the right on everything. We debated about whether or not you have to have children in order to care about the future of this country. So we have a debate and it's fine. He has a right to his opinions. I have the right to mine. If you care about democracy, the democratic process is reliant on having these types of conversations and reliant on not resorting to violence because you're unable to articulate your arguments effectively against the other side. That's what I see this assassination as. Again, it was cowardice. It was disgusting. It was cold-blooded murder, and no one should be celebrating it, and no one should be mocking the family members of Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, very well said. I just want to thank all the panel for joining me. Jack, I want to say to you, I can tell by your demeanor today how profoundly impacted you've been by your friend's murder. God. And I'm just very sorry to you as his friend that you've had to endure what must have been a hellish week. And
actual ghouls.
I'd like to send my very best to the family who I know you talked to. And I'm sorry for some of the things you've had to hear from Destiny in this debate. But thank you for coming on despite what you've been going through. So I appreciate it.
Thank you, Piers. I'll convey that to them.
Thank you very much. Thank you to the panel. Thank you. Piers Morgan Uncensored is proudly independent. Yeah.
All right. So that wound up leading to say what Elon Musk's daddy doing on the debate chitlin circuit. I mean, it's Oxford. Oxford is, over in England, Oxford is like Harvard. It's supposed to be the top place of education in the world. The left has to lie to make folks look bad. We tell the truth and they look worse. So this is what wound up happening to Destiny. I think maybe a day or two later. See, my entire income is gone now. Destiny claims Elon Musk and other conservatives got him banned from Twitch. Political streamer Destiny, real name Stephen Bunnell Jr. I'm about to say the Junior, faces a Twitch ban he attributes to a coordinated effort by Elon Musk and conservatives, alleging its free speech issues following controversial comments on Charlie Kirk. Destiny claims Destiny claims his income is eliminated due to the ban, triggered by hateful conduct accusations related to discrimination. Oh, it's discrimination now. It's discrimination now. Okay. Yeah, that's my phone here. Okay. So political streamer Stephen Bunnell, aka Destiny, has been banned from Twitch as alleged by him. The move has been orchestrated by Elon Musk and other conservative figures. Make sure you guys can see this. Okay. All right. The ban that came after the recent controversy surrounding his comments on Charlie Kirk has been claimed to have eliminated his income. Destiny alleges that this action is a coordinated effort to silence him, directly contradicting free speech principles. In the post shared by Destiny on X, he didn't mince his words when he took names that got him removed from Twitch. Bunnell has directly accused Elon Musk and other conservatives of engineering the coordinated effort to get him removed from the platform. He further claimed, "My entire income is gone now. So much for the party of free speech." Excuse me, you murdered a man over free speech. The hypocrisy is hilarious. So this is what he wrote on Twitter. Unreal. Elon Musk and other conservatives just got me banned from Twitch. My entire income is gone now. So much for the party of free speech. And here's where they wrote him. Hello, Destiny, you piece of shit. Twitch is committed to keeping our community safe for everyone. And as a part of that, we require all users to ensure that anything shared on their account abides by Twitch's terms of service and community guidelines. Based on a review of your activity or content, we have issued a community guideline strike on your account. Due to the severe nature of this violation, or the fact that you've incurred multiple violations, your access to Twitch services is indefinitely restricted. Reason: hateful conduct, promoting, encouraging, or facilitating the discrimination or denigration of a group of people based on their protected characteristics. Examples of volatile conduct include, but are not limited to, posting a combination of words and emotes in chat to promote denigration based on race. I'm tired. It's 10:38. Praising or supporting a hate crime, advocating for the exclusion of a group of people based on their disability. The streamer even shared a screenshot of the Destiny Twitch ban notice he received. It cited hateful conduct violation. Oh, okay, we've been there. So Elon Musk says, let him say what he wants, but then also pay the price under the law. Phil Labonte, I guess Musk was responding to Phil Labonte, who said, if you just saw Destiny endorse political violence today, be advised that this is not a one-time thing and it's not new. That's when Musk said, let him say what he wants, but then also pay the price under the law. Right. Because what's good for the goose is good for the gander, right? And that's it. After segments of video, Piers Morgan Uncensored started to go viral on X. Elon Musk responded to the situation. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. So Colin Rugg, of course, he posted a clip of what we just watched. He said, popular streamer Destiny refuses to condemn the assassination. Charlie Kirk says you need conservatives to be afraid of getting killed. On Piers Morgan, I won't condemn anything until Trump can go on air and say all of us need to calm down. So I don't know who this Cernovich person is, but I do know who Colin Rugg is. He said, why hasn't Amazon banned their streamer who has repeatedly called for conservatives to be murdered? You know this is on you at Jeff Bezos, right? Anything happens to one of us and you will be held personally responsible. And Elon, of course, he responded to the tweet. He said, I don't think this jackass should be banned, but Amazon should stop paying him to incite murder. That's insane. Separately, incitement to murder and domestic terrorism is a felony crime. For that, he should go to prison. He can resume streaming when he has served his term. And another comment made by Musk, he even said, okay, yeah, all right, we went over through that. I don't know who this Mario Nawful person is. But they also, this is like, I guess people were, these are the big people on X. Let's see, he also posted where Candace Owens says Charlie Kirk was threatened before death. Charlie Kirk faced threats weeks before his death, according to Candace Owens. She says Charlie was rethinking his stance on Israel, had been contacted by Netanyahu, and was offered a ton of money in that moment. Yeah, because Israel is known for paying celebrities and whatnot to speak glowingly of them. So it says Destiny's band. Oh, wait. I brought up Kash Patel earlier. You say, what Elon Musk daddy doing on the, oh, okay, no. Say the, okay. All right. I thought I might miss something new. So I brought up I brought up Kash Patel earlier with the Senate hearings, well, the congressional hearings concerning the the murder of Charlie Kirk, how they handled the case. And of course, you got Cory Booker made a fool out of himself and everything, talking about Epstein. I don't know why the hell these people keep bringing up Epstein. That has nothing to do with Epstein's right now. But a question was asked of him concerning because it's true, there was a lot of chatter by a lot of trans people talking about the murder of Charlie Kirk because they knew, what's up, Lewis? They knew beforehand. Like, this is chatter that was going on Blue Sky. They knew that Charlie was going to be set up for assassination. They knew this. They were openly discussing it. A lot of trans people. Kash Patel was asked about that. Because if we know, Congress knows. Congress asked him about that. He said, oh yeah, we're looking into that. We're following up on leads. So they're going to get to the source. Trust me, they're eventually going to get to the source of the information. Because do understand, Kash Patel was the last Trump nominee that had to get through. And the Republicans, the Democrats tried to stall that out as long as they could, that vote. But he got in anyway because they knew that he was not just a Trump loyalist, but he also hated the Democratic Party. He hates the Democratic Party for what they did. All the secrets and lies and whatnot they were doing, politicizing the FBI. Matter of fact, during the when he was in front of Congress today and yesterday, but this was yesterday that I was watching, they were talking to him. Cory Booker was talking to him about the people that got fired from the FBI and everything. It's like, yeah, because they were Team Biden. They were setting people up. They were bringing up false allegations. Oh, I'm sorry, allegations. Shout out to Tiffany Hinger. They were bringing up false allegations on people. No, they were pretty much dirty cops. They were just FBI agents, but they were dirty. Yeah, these guys got fired or reassigned. So they're going after them. Let's see. Piers Morgan said, Destiny says he won't condemn the murder of Charlie Kirk until President Trump calls for everyone to calm down. And the Conspirian, you represent the worst of us. All right, so these are just basically, yeah, they're just talking about the clips. So at any rate, yeah, this interview that we just watched cost him his money. And I've been saying this for a minute, for the past couple years. I'm like, for brothers that's trying to make their money off of YouTube, bruh. Bruh, take it from me. They can snatch your income and kill your channel whenever they feel like it. All you got to do is say one thing that they don't agree with. All it takes is for one person to complain. Ask Cynthia G. They'll take your channel. They will take your channel. They'll make ask Tommy Sotomayor. They will take your channel. And speaking of, you about to lose your job. You about to lose your job. Jimmy Kimmel got fired. FCC targets ABC and Disney for misleading and misinforming public over Charlie Kirk shooting. Because do understand that these channels are funded. These are government funded channels. They have FCC regulations that they have to go by where they cannot lie unless they file that they are not a news information, you know, but they're entertainment. But FCC Chairman Brendan Carr has issued a stern warning to Jimmy Kimmel, ABC, and Disney after Kimmel falsely claimed Charlie Kirk's assassination was a MAGA conservative. Carr called the statements truly sick, hinting at suspending Kimmel and potentially revoking ABC's license if they fail to address the misinformation. Yeah, you can't lie on these airwaves. They'll pull your license. Why do you think you get people on MSNBC and CNN? Why do you think Sonny Holston is reading legal notes? You get these people, they say one thing and then all of a sudden they got to turn around and apologize and retract statements and do clarifications. This is why Trump sued CBS for $15 million. Well, they settled. I think it was more than that, but they wound up settling so that way they could sell CBS, Paramount, to another company. That's why your boy got fired. I can't think of his name, but he is so terrible. He is so terrible. But whatever. He got fired. Now you got Trump is suing I think it's the New York Post or whatever over those fake letter, birthday card letter, whatever, to Jeffrey Epstein because it wasn't even his signature or anything like that. He's now suing them. Yeah, like, woo. Anyway, the fallout from Charlie Kirk's shocking assassination has escalated as Jimmy Kimmel finds himself at the center of a growing storm. The late-night host allegedly claimed that Kirk's killer was a MAGA conservative, a statement that quickly went viral and caused widespread outrage. FCC Chairman Brendan Carr is now threatening immediate action against Kimmel, ABC, and parent company Disney, saying they deliberately misled the public. Carr's remarks have opened the door to the possibility of Kimmel being suspended or even ABC losing its broadcast license. The FCC believes these comments were not a simple mistake, but a calculated effort to deceive. Brendan Carr did not hold back in condemning Kimmel's remarks. Speaking to the media, the FCC chairman said, "This is a very serious issue right now for Disney. We can do this the easy way or the hard way." Oh my God. The choice is yours. Let's see.
You know, when you look at the conduct that has taken place by Jimmy Kimmel, it appears to be some of the sickest conduct possible. As you've indicated, there are, avenues here for the FCC. So there are some ways in which I need to be a little bit careful, because we could be called ultimately to be a judge on some of these claims that come up. But I don't think this is an isolated incident. I mean, you go back to Representative Swalwell, and he had a tweet out last week where he was saying that, emphasizing that Charlie Kirk's killer was a straight white male from a Republican family that voted for Donald Trump. In some quarters, there's a very concerted effort to try to lie to the American people about the nature, as you indicate, of one of the most significant, newsworthy public interest acts that we've seen in a long time. And what appears to be an action by Jimmy Kimmel to play into that narrative that this was somehow a MAGA or Republican motivated person. If that's what happened here with his conduct, that is really, really sick. And I've been very clear from the moment that I have become chairman of the FCC, I want to reinvigorate the public interest. And what people don't understand is that the broadcasters, and you've gotten this right, are entirely different than people that use other forms of communication. They have a license granted by us at the FCC, and that comes with it an obligation to operate in the public interest. And we can get into some ways that we've been trying to reinvigorate the public interest and some changes that we've seen. But frankly, when you see stuff like this, I mean, look, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. These companies can find ways to change conduct and take action, frankly, on Kimmel, or there's going to be additional work for the FCC ahead.
What kind of action would you see? I, at the very least, would like to have an on-air apology from Jimmy Kimmel to the Kirk family, to all of those who he slandered, because he did say that Charlie Kirk, he is effectively saying that our movement did this. Our movement killed Charlie, that Charlie was deserving of this, effectively. And we've seen that rear its head. This happens quite regularly, actually, on MSNBC and on other networks where they're trying to victim blame. And what that does, Mr. Chairman, respectfully, is continues the lie and continues the threat level to say effectively that we have no share in this problem at all on the left. This is a clear-cut case. What would you like to see done at ABC?
Well, look, I think what you said there strikes me as a very reasonable, minimal step that can be taken. I mean, obviously, look, there's calls for Kimmel to be fired. I think, you could certainly see a path forward for suspension over this. And again, the FCC is going to have remedies that we could look at. Again, we may ultimately be called to be a judge on that. But this also strikes me as sort of conduct that to some extent shows some sort of desperate irrelevance. I mean, we're sort of exiting an era where the three main legacy broadcast networks could control and dictate the narrative to the American people. And one of the things that President Trump did when he ran for office, he ran directly at that legacy media establishment. And he smashed the facade that they get to control what we say, what we think, the narrative around events. And we're seeing a lot of consequences that are flowing from President Trump doing that. I mean, look, NPR has been defunded. PBS has been defunded. Colbert is retiring. Joy Reid is out at MSNBC. Terry Moran has gone from ABC and now admitting that they are biased. CBS has now made some commitments to us that they're going to return to more fact-based journalism. And so I think you see some lashing out from people like Kimmel, who are frankly talentless and are looking for ways to get attention. But their grip on the narrative is slipping. That doesn't mean that it's still not important to hold them to the public interest standard. That's what we're going to have to do.
So we did elucidate and enumerate a number of statutes that could be used against ABC. If you would, Mr. Chairman, would you just explain for us what broadcasting in the public interest means? I don't think most people understand actually the depth of how important it is that ABC, NBC, CBS have these gratuitous broadcast privileges granted to them by the American taxpayer.
Yeah, the right way to sort of explain this to people so they understand it is in the media landscape as relevant here, there's two main buckets of actors. One, you've got what we call national programmers. So that's what Comcast is, Comcast NBC. That's what Disney is, Disney ABC. They're the ones that effectively create and produce these shows. They then provide those shows to individually licensed TV stations. And those TV stations are in the main owned by independent companies, independent from Comcast and Disney. But Disney and Comcast both own some televisions themselves. So start from the idea that you have national programmers that create the show, including the Kimmel Show, and then they're given to and distributed over licensed TV stations. It's the licensed TV stations that have the public interest standard, including those TV stations that Comcast and Disney own. So FCC regulatory action focuses on those individual stations. And one thing that we're trying to do is to empower those local stations to serve their own communities. And the public interest means you can't be running a narrow partisan circus and still meeting your public interest obligations. It means you can't be engaging in a pattern of news distortion. We have a rule on the book that interprets a public interest standard that says news distortion is something that is prohibited. Likewise, we have a rule that addresses broadcast hoaxes. And so, again, over the years, the FCC has stepped back from enforcing it. And I don't think it's been to the benefit of anybody. Just look at the credibility of these legacy media. It's absolutely through the floor. They used to be able to say at least they were more trustworthy than Congress, but now they're even less trustworthy than Congress. And so I think as a business matter for them, something has to change. And at the FCC, we need to reinvigorate this. So, again, there's actions that we can take on licensed broadcasters. And frankly, I think that it's really sort of past time that a lot of these licensed broadcasters themselves push back on Comcast and Disney and say, listen, we are going to preempt. We are not going to run Kimmel anymore until you straighten this out, because we licensed broadcaster are running the possibility of fines or license revocation from the FCC if we continue to run content that ends up being a pattern of news distortion. So I think, again, Disney needs to see some change here, but the individual licensed stations that are taking their content, it's time for them to step up and say, this, garbage, to the extent that that's what comes down the pipe in the future, isn't something that we think serves the needs of our local communities. But this sort of status quo is obviously not acceptable where we are.
You believe that what Jimmy Kimmel said rises to the level of news distortion?
Look, again, the FCC could be called upon to be an ultimate judge in that, but at this point, I think it's clear. It appears to be clear that you can make a strong argument that this is sort of an intentional effort to mislead the American people about a very core fundamental fact, a very important matter. At the end of the day, if we do get called upon to cast a vote on this, Disney will have a chance to put in their arguments and explain it. But this is a very, very serious issue right now for Disney.
Yeah.
I mean, they're done. Look, man, they're done playing around with these people. Trump administration is done playing around with these people. When JD Vance was on Turning Point USA, Charlie Kirk's show, and he said it outright, like, we're done. The games are over. We're no longer going to play nice with you people. Now you fucked up. You killed the president and his cabinet's friend. They're done fucking with you. It's a battle you cannot win. Y'all be safe out there, man. I'll catch y'all later.